Hi everyone, this is Victor Gichan and welcome to our exclusive interview on the Contributors podcast with the man who has worked with some of the biggest names in the entertainment industry. From Elton John to Elon Musk, Steve has helped numerous celebrities and business tycoons create unforgettable experience. But his journey to success wasn't a straight line. He started as a bricklayer in London, worked as a stockbroker, and even served as a doorman at the nightclub in Hong Kong. In this interview, Steve shares his incredible journey, his experiences working with A-listers, and 3 valuable insights that every viewer can learn from. Please welcome to my guest, author, speaker, coach, and the real-life wizard of Oz, Steve Sims. Hi Steve, thanks so much for coming on the Contributors channel.
Are you kidding? I'm honored and proud to be here.
This is so exciting to have you here because I heard your speech on the presentation, your presentation on the breakthrough on the beach with Jay Abraham, and we all were so fascinated with your energy and at the same time with all these insights from your life experience that's so valuable. So this is why I wanted to really badly to have you on this podcast so you can share all these things with our viewers, because our viewers, the people who want to go to the next level, whatever it takes, they want to learn from the best in the industry and in business. So I really want to, first of all, say thank you so much for writing your latest book, Go for Stupid, which I just finished. And I can tell you, this has really made my commute to the office and from the office. This is where I usually listen to the books. Really exciting, and this is so nice. I think I'm going to listen to it one more time, because sometimes I listen twice, because there are so many stories, and they're not just funny or interesting. They are real. We all have this type of situation, but how you handle them, how they help you to get where you are right now. I think this is what this interview will be about. So we will all want to learn from you. So in this book, you emphasize the importance of ignoring what everyone else thinks and go for big, stupid, ridiculous goal. Can you share a specific example from your own life where taking a stupid risk paid off?
Wow, every day. The good thing is that when you take risks, even if they don't pay off, you become educated. And so depending on how you look at things, some of my biggest growth, some of my most profitable lessons have actually comes from things that I tried that didn't work. But to give you some examples, I've had, just from a young lad, as a bricklayer, not knowing anyone with money, my goal was to get into a room and have a conversation with billionaires. So I tried doing that, and that worked until I realized that I didn't ask good questions. And Jay Abraham, you mentioned Jay, who, I love as a brother. Jay always says that if you want an amazing answer, ask an amazing question. And I got in the room with billionaires, but I didn't ask amazing questions. So I got ridiculous answers. So my first go for stupid moment was I was in the right room, but I wasn't prepared to get the most out of it. And then I went further. People would say, hey, I want to, get front row tickets to this rock band's concert, and it's sold out. And then I would say, well, that's okay, but what's my stupid goal here? How can I take this further? So instead of getting them front row seats, I got them on stage and they sang lead singer 4 songs with their favorite rock band. So I would always look at what people were asking for and then go, well, how can I make that stupid? Now, 2 things happen when you do that. The first thing is you aim higher, and 9 times out of 10, you fail. But you fail far higher than if you'd have gone for what you were trying to achieve. So I like failing up. So you go for a ridiculous, laughable goal. And here's the stupid thing here. When you start going for ridiculous goals more times and more times, you actually end up hitting them. One of the famous ones that you've read about in my book was when a client wanted to have a dining experience in Florence. And I thought, well, I could get a nice restaurant in Florence. That'd be wonderful. But how can I make this ridiculous? And in the end, I decided to take over the Accademia di Galleria Museum, set up a table of 6 at the feet of Michelangelo's David, and then have Andrea Bocelli serenade them while they're eating the pasta. It was a stupid goal, which I didn't really expect to achieve, but I did. I actually got it. by going for it. And when you keep going for ridiculous goals, you end up achieving them. It also increases your standards. So as you keep going for these ridiculous goals, you increase as to what can be done, but you also move your relationship with who you're working with away from a transaction and into an asset. You see, if I said to you, let me reverse it. If you said to me, hey, I want a yellow cake, and I gave you a yellow cake, that's a transaction. It's not a relationship. Right. You wanted something, I gave it to you. But if I said to you, whoa, no, Victor, I'm not going to give you a yellow cake. I'm going to give you a blue cake. And I'm going to do yellow cakes around the side. And then there's going to be a red cake that if I use my imagination to give something that wows you, now I'm your creative asset. The next time you think of a cake, you go, whoa, I'm going to get Steve, because Steve ignores what I ask for and gives me what I want. And that's the real thing today. So I would say that was a pretty good example of when you're pushing yourself, you do nothing more than win, even when you fail.
Right. So if you aim higher, even if you don't get that goal, what I learned from your book and from my experience, if you aim higher, it's better. Even if you fail, you end up somewhere in between really mediocre goal and very high goal, but not at that low mediocre goal which anybody can achieve. This is I think one of the main idea of this kind of go for stupid idea. Just don't be afraid.
Yes,
anyway, you have chance 50-50, win or lose, right?
Oh, yes.
Cool. So one of the key themes in your book is the idea that people often overthink and overcomplicate things. And I'm guilty of it too. So what advice would you give to someone who struggles with this?
Be an 8-year-old. I think children sit there and say, hey, I'm going to be an astronaut. I'm going to be a rock star. And they just dream it. They play. They have fun. They imagine. And then as we get older, we lose that childlike curiosity. We lose that childlike ability to have fun. So with me, I always think, okay, we're going to do this. How can we have fun with this? And I try to become that child. In fact, my wife says that I'm a 55-year-old 5-year-old. And so I think the downside is that as we get bigger in business, and that's a funny thing to say for a start, but as we become what we think is bigger, more successful, we're making more money, we look at a problem and then all we want to do is throw money at it. I want to get more business. Let me spend $100,000 on Facebook ads. I need a better website. Let me spend $30,000 on a website and CRM program. We throw money at the problem hoping that we actually don't have to do anything. But the easiest way to have a relationship, pick up a phone. Pick up your phone a prospect, phone a client and go, hey, how are you doing? I just wanted to check in. I'm working with you and we're doing what we should, but I just wanted to ask, can I be doing any more? And when you start having those conversations, they start telling their people, hey, you're not going to believe it. I coach people all over the world. I get most of my business, probably about 80% of my business comes from my clients talking to their friends going, hey, my coach did this. My coach just phoned me up out of the blue, not on our scheduled session, to just check on my improvement. Just wanted to see how I was doing. And they are so blown away by that because most people don't do it. They look for the complicated answer rather than the one that has the most impact. And the one that has the most impact is usually the most simple.
Right. Just call your client. You're absolutely right. It's happened in my business as well. I called my client just 6 months ago. I said, look, we work since 2015 providing this particular service. What else can I do for you? Because we're running trucks. If you need to move something, let me know. Now we just open new, absolutely service in our business because of just one call. You just absolutely said it so right. But unfortunately, I only learned 6 months ago that this is so simple to get.
But everyone's scared of it. People, the downside is people sit there and they go, it can't be that easy. It's got to be difficult. It's got to be hard. It's not. Everything I've ever got is because I simply just dared to ask.
Right. This is amazing. And in your book, you talk about the importance of building meaningful relationships and creating opportunities for others. So how do you approach networking and relationship building? And what tips can you offer to someone who wants to improve in this area? Because this is one of the most complicated things to build relationships. and build them right.
Yeah, that's correct. Building a relationship right. I'm not looking for just a casual association with someone. I want a relationship. So the first thing you've got to ask yourself, and it's a selfish question, having a relationship with that person, how will that benefit me? What do I get out of it? How will that help me? Be selfish. You know, if I'm going to have a relationship with Victor, how does that help me? Now, when you can answer that question, and it's a positive, yes, Victor can help me. He can do this with me. He can help me with it. When you've got those answers, if the answer's, well, he can't, don't even start the relationship. You know, don't even bother because there's no benefit. Now, if I can come up with 3 or 4 good reasons that having a relationship with Victor can benefit me, then in my head, I've got to become Victor and ask myself as Victor, how's having a relationship with Steve Sims going to help Victor? Now, if I can come up with 3 or 4 reasons that a relationship with Steve's going to help Victor, then that's a relationship worth stepping into. But if I can't, then I don't touch it. So when I'm looking around at networking events and people say to me, oh, hi, how are you? What do you do? I'm not interested. I will literally look at the room and I will try to find out who I can actually work with that is going to be of mutual benefit with both people. And then you go, okay, hey, Victor, I would like to chat with you because I believe I can do this for you and offer something of value. You know, hey, Victor, I know you've got a podcast. I know you've got a show. I know some people that would be great guests for you. Hey, Victor, I would like to tell my community about your show. Hey, Victor, I know you're working on, another book. I've got a way that my book really worked well by doing this marketing. I'd like to share it with you. If I can show up to Victor with value, then Victor's going to want to be in my relationship circle. And he's naturally going to want to bring value to my relationship. So is a relationship worth having? If it's yes, move accordingly.
This is amazing. This is so resonating with another book I just finished from, you know Joe Polish, right? You know Joe Polish.
I know Joe very well. Yeah, very, very well. Yeah.
Yeah, he just wrote this book. It's called What in It for Them. This is exactly what you just said. So first, look for what in it for them, and then think this is so profound. Cool. So in this book, Steve, you share some stories about your experiences working with high-profile clients such as Elton John and Elon Musk. And what lessons have you learned from these experiences and how they shaped your approach to business?
Well, the funny thing is, if you don't know me, then let me help you a little bit. For 25 years, I ran an experiential concierge firm for millionaires and billionaires. But I've always said to people, I was never in the business you think I was in. You see, I didn't want to be a concierge. I don't care about going to the red carpet. I don't care about going backstage with Taylor Swift. I don't care about any of that. All I cared about was having a conversation with Elon Musk or with Elton John or with Richard Branson or with someone powerful in the planet. I wanted to have that conversation and say to them, hey, how do you enter a relationship? How do you look at money? How do you pick the deals you get in? How do you hire people? How do you fire people? I wanted to speak to the most powerful people in the planet and get that information. And with that information, I could change the way that I worked. And so that was the business I was in. I always joke. I said that I was into podcasting before podcasting existed. So I always wanted to have a conversation with these people. For me to get the conversation, if I've got to get you a singing lesson with Andrea Bocelli, fine, I'll do that. But my business was always to get your attention. And so I went out to these people. And again, learning from Jay Abraham, I now learned how to ask an amazing question to get my amazing answer. And so I was very direct. Hey, Victor, I want to know, how do you hire people in your business? How do you look at money? How do you value money? What triggers you? Why do you get up in the morning? What excites you? You're already a billionaire. You know, why do you bother going to work? You know, I ask these people these questions. And I get these answers. And probably one of the most uniformed questions I asked to get the most amazing answers was that relationship with time. And Anyone that's got money realizes they can make more money, but they realize they can't make more time. So the most affluent people in the world don't value gold, they value seconds. They value that moment. And so when COVID came across, it was all the poor people in the planet that cared about just watching TV. Affluent, successful people literally went, okay, I've got all this time. What can I do with it? Can I focus on my house? Can I focus on my family? Can I focus on my business? They use the time because they know they're never going to get it back. Millions and millions of people wasted hours during COVID, but successful people profited from that time. So that was the biggest surprise, answer, and growth in me, was to value the seconds. Don't waste a moment. If I'm literally doing something and it finishes early and I've got 30 minutes, I'll be like, okay, what can I do with this 30 minutes? I'll listen to a podcast. I'll make a note of the things I've got to do in the day. I'll write a letter to myself. What do I need to be working on now? But I'm not going to waste it. I'm too old, too ugly. I'm not wasting seconds.
Yeah, this is such a valuable advice and such a valuable lesson. I heard a story, one Catholic priest, he had wife and she always late for dinner, and he first was like kind of angry, but instead he started to writing some notes. So during his lifetime, he wrote about 50 books during the time when he was waiting his wife. This is what you just said. This is so powerful. Use every minute for something productive instead of complaining or whatever, procrastinating, right? That's amazing. So before we continue, dear viewers, if you like this interview so far, you want to watch more videos like this, like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell below to get notified about new videos. And if you wanted to download the book Go for Stupid, link will be provided in the description below. And we continue. Steve, you mentioned the concept of reverse engineering success in the book. Can you explain what that means and how it can be applied to achieve our goals?
So all success starts with momentum and a vision. And a lot of people, they concern themselves with everything in the middle of that. So they go, oh, I want to do this, but I don't know how to do that. If you know where you want to be, all you have to do is take one step back. And Elon Musk is a perfect example for this. Elon Musk knew pretty much nothing about space travel. The only thing he knew is that he wanted to do it and that he wanted to be involved. And he knew what space looked like. It's up there. Everyone can see it every night. He knows what the moon looks like because everyone can see it. He knows he wants to set up a colony there. Okay, great. Now what's got to happen in the middle? Well, I've got to find people that know how to do it. I've got to understand what the problems are so that we can look at the solutions. It's very easy to work out the ingredients if you know where you need to be. The biggest problem people have is they're not specific with that goal. They go, oh, I want to be rich. Well, what's rich? If you have $1 million and you live in the middle of nowhere, you can live forever. If you live up in Nepal and you're up in the hills and you're a sheep farmer and someone gives you $1 million, you've never got to work again. But if you're in Hong Kong or if you're in New York and someone gives you $1 million, you can't buy an apartment. So you can't retire. So the bottom line of it is, it's too vague. You've got to know the goalpost in order to be able to score. And most of the time, people have a problem of knowing where they need to be. The first thing I do whenever I coach people is I'm like, where are we going? Where's the end goal? How are we going to know when we arrive if we don't know what the journey looks like and we don't know what the end destination's supposed to be? So focus on where you're going, and then the middle steps are just literally one step back, until you get where you are. And there's a lot of those steps that you're not going to know, you're not going to understand. And the most successful entrepreneurs know they have to learn the art of delegation. It's not how, it's who. I save time by having a who. Jay Abraham, you mentioned Jay at the beginning, my boy. He's one of my who's. I don't need to know the answer. It's irrelevant what the answer is to me. I need to know who has the answer. And I will quite often go, Jay, I need this. And his answer, I may not understand. So I'll have another person go, hey, I need you to get in the middle of this conversation, and I need you to be able to do what Jay's telling me to do that you're now going to do. And so I can just be the conduit between the intelligence and the action. So it's not a how, it's a who.
Right. That's amazing. Yeah, and like Tony Robbins said, the proximity is the king. So whoever around you, who you surround yourself with, like you mentioned, Jay Abraham, right? So if you surround yourself with people smarter than you, more experienced than you, then you will get that insight, and then you need to surround on the other side with the executors who can execute those ideas, who can execute those strategies. And you like a vessel, all this wisdom goes through you to executors and you get results.
You also don't need, a lot of people are concerned that they're not smart enough, okay? You don't need to be smart enough. In fact, more to the point, you need to realize you're not smart enough. Because if you think you're smart enough, you're gonna try and do it yourself. I'm smart because I know I can't. I'm intelligent. I'm a genius because I know I'm not. And so every time I meet someone that's smart, I go, brilliant. Henry, talk to this person. Christy, talk to this person. My zone of genius is knowing what I'm not good at. That's my zone of genius.
Yeah, to know what you better delegate. Oh, this is so amazing, so profound. Awesome. Thank you. And finally, what advice would you give to someone who wants to live a more fulfilling and adventurous life but doesn't know where to start? So they're really in the beginning.
Challenge yourself. You see, you don't know what you're capable of. As human beings, we're really spectacular at achieving wonderful things. But 9 times out of 10, we settle for mediocrity. We settle for what can be achieved, what's possible, because somebody else told us it was possible. Don't live by somebody else's standards. Challenge yourself. You don't think you can run? Sign up for a marathon. You're scared of heights? Sign up to climb up Everest. Along the way, you'll find out how to do things. You'll also find out things you can't do. And so that will also be an education. But the key to growth is challenge. And that challenge can sometimes be painful. But we learn so much from that pain, and that pain also empowers us. We know what we can do because we know what we can't do. But we also get to know what we went for. And that's the key.
Wow, this is really, challenge yourself. The growth where the pain, the growth outside of your comfort zone. That's exactly right. Steve, it has been an absolute pleasure speaking with you today and hearing your insights and experience. I think your ideas and philosophy are truly profound and I would say revolutionary, in my opinion. For anyone who is inspired by your message and would like to reach out to you with a question or learn more about your work, how can they get in touch with you?
Oh, it's very easy. I'm Steve D. Sims everywhere. Steve D for dash in and only one M in Sims. So Steve D. Sims, Instagram, Facebook, anywhere that you consume your social, or just visit stevedsims.com and you can find out everything about me and all my social links there.
Wonderful. And dear viewers, I will place all this link in the description so it will be much easier for you to get in touch with Steve if you have any questions. Thank you, Steve, for coming on the Contributors Podcast and share your incredible stories and insights with our viewers.
Thank you.
Dear viewers, I hope this video was helpful and now you are ready to go for stupid and achieve ridiculous goals. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. If you like this video, please like and share, subscribe and hit the bell below to be notified about my new videos. Thanks for watching. Stay healthy, stay wealthy, stay tuned.